Among the modeling and research that you dug into, was Peter Turchin's model among them, where he has this political stress index? He's out of the University of Connecticut, I believe, and it shows for him in their model, which includes a lot of different factors, including lack of opportunity for educated elites, nutrition, like a bunch of different factors go into it. But his study showed political stress to be at literally Civil War levels, which is one of the reasons why
Yeah.
I take this possibility very seriously.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the fact that there's like Barbara Walters books that uses a completely separate methodology from mine, but comes to the exact same conclusions. I mean, that's a bit of a warning, right? Like you could, I didn't go through that model, although I was familiar with it. I went through PRIO, the Research Institute of Oslo, because I felt they had a sort of like a slightly more well, it wouldn't be fair to say more global, but like they were not in America, right? And part of the thing that I wanted was to get like perspectives outside of America on America, because I find like the debate in America is so toxic that it kind of consumes, like everyone gets consumed within it. And so, yeah, I mean, that's excellent research though. But you know, the models that I used are more specifically tied to inequality, like and those vertical inequality and horizontal inequality, both, which are, you know, literally at levels that the Republic has never seen before. Like there's never been higher inequality back in 1776. There was not this level of inequality.
Yeah, we're in the new strange gilded age, supercharged by technology and capitalism in different ways. So when you talk about horizontal inequality versus vertical inequality, explain. I have a sense that vertical inequality is the inequality that most people think of.
Well, inequality is like there are high level. There are some people who are very rich and there are some people who are very poor. America, of course, is the real extreme example of this globally, where like I mean it's off the charts. Like it's the Gini coefficient is just so crazy in the United States that it basically breaks all the models. A horizontal inequality is inequality between groups. So inequality between ethnic groups, between different regions, between different identifiable groups, and both are very high in the United States, and both, you know, are predictors of civil war. I mean, you know, like some people ask me what are the most common things that lead into it. You know, the Enocracy is probably the biggest one, but I don't really like to think of it that way, because to me, it's a complex cascading system. It's something where everything feeds into itself, and that's why you get such turbulence, right? Like that's why the unimaginable keeps happening all the time. Like why it's like you just can't believe something happened, because
I think a lot of
it's a
Americans have had that sense. It's like, oh, that like I
yeah.
can't believe that's happening, but now it's almost commonplace. So you just used a term, enocracy. Can you explain?
Like societies that are at ripe for civil war and for political violence generally are not democracies or autocracies. Those are both very stable. Like there's not going to be a revolution in Russia. It's an autocracy. There's not going to be a revolution in Canada, God willing, although God knows we've come close twice to losing the country in my lifetime. But and there was martial law declared just before I was born. But you know, those kind of societies tend not to have lots of political violence. It's where you're in this in between space,
The gray area, like the fake
the gray area.
democracy, the democracy that
Yeah,
no one has actual faith in.
exactly. And that, I mean, America is that now, I think, and
I agree.
it is. Yeah.
We
Well,
very much
yes,
resemble a
you were
fake
the
democracy for reasons that, you know, like I'm very animated about.
and I think like one of the things about you is that the right's always kind of made that argument. Like the right has always sort of said like they're not legitimate, but now it's people on the left and people with data and people with not emotions but out of reason saying, you know, this is not a functioning system anymore.
Some of the reasons why I think America has become a fake democracy is that you have this two-party system that is very rigidly enforced. And now 83 to 90% of congressional races are gerrymandered to be safely blue or safely red, so that there's no real uncertainty around which party is going to emerge from that seat victorious. To the extent that any uncertainty exists is in the primary, which ends up distorting incentives in various ways. But it does mean that if you're in the minority party in 90% of the country, you might as well just not vote or sit it out. And so when people go and exhort you to be like, oh, get involved, do this, it's like, we've actually set it up so that you can have no meaningful impact on this race, but we're going to inflame you. We're going to make you mad in various ways. So this system, I think, is very, very discouraging to many, many Americans. It's not a genuine democracy in that if you did have like an independent actor or party or candidate, the odds of them actually being able to make headway are vanishingly low, because you would need $10 million to run a statewide campaign. Like, what independent could have that? If you're an ordinary citizen, you're on the outside looking in. So you get told, look, you have to play within these parties, which, by the way, again, aren't really open unto themselves. You have this strange media landscape that's hyper polarized and gutted at the local level. So those are some of the things I think about when I think fake democracy, which is a different argument than the stuff that you've heard from, let's say, the right in times past.
No, that's true. I mean, to me, as an outsider, like the inherent fairness of any electoral system is kind of not really relevant, because what matters is that people feel the system to be legitimate. I mean, that's the basis of peaceful government. Like we have a first past the post system here, which, has definite, you could sometimes the majority party wins with 39% of the vote. Right. And everyone's, sort of outraged. But then, this is just the system.
Your system is designed that way. I mean, how many political parties are active in Canada?
3. Well, more. There's at least 4, actually. But sometimes one is currently a minority government, with the third party being the kingmaker, really, right now, the NDP. But my point really is that that's all fine and good until ordinary people, you can survive all of that until ordinary people start to feel that their system is not representing the popular will. And I mean, the evidence is really becoming clear that is happening, that ordinary Americans don't feel that their electoral system represents the popular will. And as you for all the reasons you just said, that's a perfectly rational point of view to hold. Right. And, and the other thing is, it's about to get much worse. It's about to get much dramatically worse.